Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, everybody. How are we doing today? Hopefully everybody is doing well this hump day. Thank you so much, Dale, for kicking off the contributions. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Okay, so we got one for today. This video was sent to me, and we're gonna check it out. We're gonna go through about half of it because that's the important part. I went to go and get the original video off of TikTok, the original set of videos off of TikTok. But they were taken down. The person who originally posted them had to take that down for whatever reason. But so somebody had the story time, I guess you want to call it. And the issue that I found was the narrative that this is trying to cover. This is coming from the person whose channel this video is coming from is one of them chicks that, she a hyena. So it's coming from the standpoint of marriage is a scam for women. The marriages back in the day with baby boomers and silent generation, those marriages was horrible. Those women went through it with those men, so them having a long marriage didn't necessarily make it a successful marriage or a happy one. And so this is the narrative that this is coming from, that this video I'm about to show you, that's the perspective that it's coming from. But when I listened to what the old lady had to say about her circumstances, about her own personal circumstances, because this is an old lady, so she looked like she's either a really old boomer, because boomers at this point, old boomers are like in their 70s and 80s now. So she's probably an old boomer that's being asked about her personal situation in the past when she was young and the marriage that she ended up in and things of that nature. So when I listened to it, I heard something completely different than the narrative that was being explained, the perspective that was given in the commentary that was given on the video from the woman who's giving commentary here. So I'm not so much interested in her commentary so much as I wanted you all to know where that perspective was coming from, right? They're coming from the, oh my God, you better off single because marriage isn't the flex that married women say it is, and every married woman is going through trials and tribulations. She's getting cheated on, she's getting beat on, she's getting abused. Men are crap even when they marry you. So that's where that's coming from. So we're going to go ahead and I want you to listen closely to this old lady, okay? Listen closely to the old lady as she talks. This is the old lady being kind of interviewed, sort of, casually asked about her past experiences. So I'm not interested in the her commentary. But anyways,
foremothers went through.
I don't have a need for a man.
5 or 6 minutes.
Hmm.
Okay.
Just chat with him and then he gone.
Well, what do you need him for? Why?
I don't need him.
Oh.
I don't really need him. I'm kind of trying to tell you, I don't need no man.
Okay.
But with me being a woman, I miss a man's company. And with me being a woman and been married and been in different relationships,
Mm-hmm.
I miss a man's company and I miss a man's touch. But that's all. I don't need. I can't get that unless I get all the other stuff that comes with a man, and I don't want that. And anything I want, I can go get, and I ain't got to be nobody to tell me. If I go somewhere and come back, why you gone so long? No, you got to go. You know, or where you
But
been?
so here's a question for you. That was the men of old times where they talked about the man being the head of the house, and he just basically, the women were property to them. That's how it used to be back in the day. In the current generation, things are a little bit different. It doesn't seem like men try to lord over women and
They
control
don't.
them. I don't know. I'm look. Why are you looking like that?
I
Now let
never.
me ask you this.
now before we continue on, I want y'all to understand what you heard. What you heard. I need y'all to understand what you just heard her say, the old lady. The old lady said, I miss a man's touch. I miss his company. I miss, and I'm gonna add, I miss his masculinity, his light, his energy, the energy of men. I also miss what they do for you. But I can't get that without him coming with the part that I don't want. And this is the part no hyena ever wants. No hyena that I have ever met wants a man's order. She don't want his order. And she gave an example. Well, Crimson, how's you coming up with that? Because she said it. She said, stuff like, if I'm gone, where you going, or why you gone so long, or when you coming back, things of that nature. That is a portion of order. When a man is keeping order in his relationship, she doesn't like that. That she doesn't like. She's never liked it. She has never liked. No hyena ever likes a man's order and structure. That's the part that they rebel against. I need everybody to understand that. This is why the relationships with hyenas are always so transactional, because they only want the benefit that they can get out of men. They don't want, like she just said, I don't want the rest of what come with him. And what is the rest that come with him? They'll characterize that rest of him as abusive or toxic masculinity or controlling or, things of that nature. They'll characterize the rest of his masculinity, the part that doesn't directly benefit them or so they perceive it to be. They'll characterize those parts of him as undesirable. And in point of fact, those things that he does is wrong, is actually wrong. And, we don't need that as women. However, we do like the other side. The other side is stuff that he do for me, money that he give me, sex that he give me, attention and validation that he give me, those things. So hyenas do not like order. When I heard that, I said, oh, we got us an old hyena. Okay, we got us a Mesopotamian hyena. We got us an ancient Sumerian hyena. We got us an ancient Kemet hyena. So
You say you'll never marry again, but your marriage, the one marriage that you
that I
have
had.
had, was really more like an arranged
Oh,
marriage.
it
You
was.
never asked to marry him in the first place.
I didn't.
And you never said that you loved him in the first place.
And I
How
didn't.
did you get married? What's the story?
My mama, I had a baby. And
How old were you?
I was 14.
Okay.
And I had a baby. And but when I got pregnant, the boy said it wasn't his baby.
Mm-hmm.
And he went on and told mama about the girl he was lacking, how she was high yellow and built like a Coca-Cola bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes you think I'm gonna fool with somebody ugly and black and snappy headed like your daughter? And over her.
Mm-hmm.
So his sister said, well, that's what you're doing. Because mama, he's the only boy that be here, and he be here. Daddy said he ain't been there, he ain't been there.
His dad.
His dad.
His daddy believed him.
Mm-hmm.
If he didn't do, if he said he wasn't messing with her, he wasn't messing with her.
Mm-hmm. So he went his way, and I went my way. And through the pregnancy, I was alone. Mm-hmm. And back then, the little girls I played with on the plantation, I couldn't play with no more. Because I done got pregnant to the older folks. Mm-hmm. I am to the older folks.
You're a bad influence.
I'm a bad influence for them. And I'm grown. So I couldn't. Mm-hmm. I didn't have nobody to play with. The only somebody stood by me was the boy's sister. The boy that got me pregnant, his sister. And so
now I want y'all to hear it as it is being said. This is why I'm stopping it at key points. Hear what is being said to you. Just because she old don't mean, stuff was rosy. She said that she was 14 when she got pregnant. She said that the boy that got her pregnant disowned her. He did not own up to being the father of her child. She further said, and we don't know what's true and what's not. Interesting how she won't remember certain stuff that she did, but you can go all the way back 100 years to literally the plantation and remember this story word for word. But we gonna go on with what she said because it's enough. She threw in the colorism. She threw in that the girl that he wanted was high yellow and she was black and ugly. And so that was the excuse that the boy used to deny the fact that he had gotten her pregnant. And the only person that was sort of on her side and was telling everybody, no, actually, he was here. He'd been here. He do come over here. And he the only boy that come over here. So it is his baby. Like, that's his baby. And she's saying that the boy's father believed his son and said, well, if he said he wasn't over here, he said he's not the father, he's not the father. So they went their separate ways. So here we have these Mississippi single motherhood tales starting in already. These Jim Crow single motherhood hyena tales. These Reconstruction hyena tales already. These Great Depression hyena tales. Okay. So she done got pregnant by a boy she liked. He don't want her. Have we heard this before? Have we heard this before? Getting pregnant by boys that don't like them, men that don't like them. Now, see, the only difference between her and a hyena of today is that hyenas of today have plenty of birth control and access to all kinds of stuff. They don't have to be pregnant. She didn't have those choices. If you got pregnant, you gonna have that baby, whether it's shameful or not. Let's keep going.
So after the baby was born, things was still going on fine with Mama until after when the baby was born, he wanted us to get back together. You said all this about me and went on your way. And then when the baby come looking like you want me to us to date and start dating and get married and raise the baby. And I told him no. I told him he can go screw his mom.
Go do what to his mom?
Screw her. And so Mama heard me. And when Mama heard me, she came in there where we were. And he said, well, I'm gone, Miss Dale. I tried. And he walked out. And because I wouldn't have him and date him, she would always tell me, you got to find you and that bastard baby somewhere to stay. You can't stay here no more.
Now, this was your mother?
This was my mom.
And you were 14 years old?
I was 14 years old.
You and the bastard baby can't stay with her?
We can't stay with her. And so, and every time she leaves, she was a partying woman. And she drank heavy. And every time she leave home, she'll tell me, I'm leaving. But when I get back, you and that bastard child of yours better be gone. But I ain't have nowhere to go. When she come back, I'll be still sitting there.
Now, listen to what she said. Oh, I need you to hear what she's saying. I need you to hear what she is saying. She said that once the baby was born, the boy she had the baby with comes back. This dispels the abandonment myth. Black men have always wanted to be a part of the child's life, whether they like you or not. So he comes back and he tells her, we should get back together. We should marry. And I will raise the child. She turned him down. Do you understand that? That this is key. It is key that she turned this boy down. Now, he was good enough for her to sneak around her mama and all around to hunch with this boy to the point where she got pregnant with his child. She was mad all in months. 9 months later, she was still mad over the fact that he had denied fathering her child. Once the child came out, and wasn't no DNA test back then and all that, but the baby come out looking just like him. From what she said, baby come out looking just like him. So you can't deny it. If the baby come out looking just like me, I can't deny that baby. That baby, a spitting image. Okay. Okay. No. It was his kid. It was his child. That's why he came back over there. Because word probably got around like, nah, that's your kid, bro. Bro, we seen that baby. We seen that baby. That's your baby. Okay. So that's why he came back around. Probably to take a look number one, do this baby really do look like me? Because I don't know. Okay. So the baby must have looked like him. He must have been satisfied with the fact that the baby looked just like him, because that is when he started talking to her about, okay, well, let's make this a family. Let's make this a family. I may not necessarily, I know what I said and stuff like that. Now, mind you, she's 14. Let's put some things into perspective. This boy is probably no older than 16 or 17 himself. Do you understand that? No, just because she was on a plantation does not mean that they were in slavery. My father picked cotton on a plantation. He was not a slave. Listen, there was sharecropping, okay? People did not leave those plantations just because legally slavery had been abolished. Okay. My father was an old boomer. He would have been well into his 70s at this point. So just because they were on the plantation does not necessarily mean that they were outright slaves. People were still picking cotton and still picking tobacco and all of that. People were still doing that. Okay, well into the 1900s. So we gotta understand that. Okay. So we got to put this in perspective. That boy that she got pregnant by was probably no older than 16, 17. He might have been 18. He was probably no older than that. So this is a teenage boy as well. So this is not some old man. This is a teenage boy. And they're liable to say anything. No, it ain't mad because he probably don't want to be in trouble. He probably does not want his little girlfriend that he really had to not want him and stuff like that. He don't want, you understand what I'm saying? We got to put this stuff into perspective. They may have been assumed to be grown at that time, but some of the ways may still have been a bit immature. So I can see him, that's what I'm at. I can see him doing that. And then 9 months later, after hearing tell that, no, bro, that baby yours, bro. You need to go back over there. His father probably told him, go see, go look. Because I know you was hunching on that girl. Your sister keeps saying you was hunching on her. You was hunching on her. Now, I vouched for you in front of them, but you was hunching on her. So if that baby looked like you, you're going to have to go over there and take care of her. You got to be a man. You was man enough to go hunch, man enough to get her pregnant, be man enough to take care of your baby. Do you understand that? And he probably say, yeah, yes, and went over, took a look. You got to put things into perspective, okay? Took a look. Say, ooh, that baby do look like me. Okay. Let me do what I should be doing. What I should do. Let me take up on my responsibility. Has nothing to do with his emotional state. Let me take up, because I'm gonna be looked at a certain way if I don't do that. I probably don't like her. I was just hunching on her because she let me. I'm not super attracted to her or whatever. But if she is pregnant, if she had my baby, so therefore I'm gonna take care of my baby. She was still in her bag. I need y'all to understand that, because this is a key point. She was still in her bag to such an extent that this is the boy she likes. She want that boy. And we're going to talk about it. You're going to understand later why I say what I say. She want that boy. Her feelings was hurt that he didn't like her well enough to own up to her in public. He was with her in the dark, but he didn't want to be with her in the light. Do you understand? This is the boy she liked that don't like her. She was in her feelings about what he had said and the fact that he did not initially accept the responsibility. And, according to her, he called her nappy head and blah, 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 blah. We don't know how true that is, but we'll just accept it for face value for the sake of this conversation. Let's assume that what she said is true. Okay. So therefore, she turned him down. He said, okay, because I don't really want you no way. I was just trying to do what I needed to do or was expected of me to do, considering the fact that I done came over here and looked at this baby in his face. And this is my kid. I really can't deny that. But since you're going to turn me down, I'm willing to give you what you want. You're going to turn me down. Fine. I'll just go and you just deal with it. You just deal with it. After he says she turns him down, he leaves. That's when her mother, notice there's no mention of who's missing from this story. Who missing from the story? Her father. What did she say about her mama? See, her mother is a single mother. Did we pick up on that? Her mother's a single mother. Her mother's a thought. This is where she got it from. This is why the other older ladies that had children didn't want her playing with their little girls. It wasn't just that she had gotten pregnant. It's just that it was also who her mother was. Her mother was the speakeasy hopping to speakeasies back then. You understand? She hopped speakeasies and drunk moonshine. And she was slutting with the men, because you don't hop speakeasies and drink a lot and you ain't screwing everybody's husband. So her mother was the thought. She's raising a thought. The reason why the girl had enough time to get pregnant was because her mother's not there. Mother's not paying attention. She too easy back and forth to speakeasies and, like somebody said in the chat, juke joints. You understand? So this is how she got the time to have that boy constantly over the house, because her mama ain't there. Mama out, she drunk, she doing whatever. And that boy can come over there and hunch on her. She messed around and got pregnant from that. Her mama know what it is. Now she extra shame because you done came, not only was you thoughtin', you done came up pregnant. You ain't got no daddy. Who know where your daddy at? We don't know where her daddy's at in this story. You understand? Now, after she done turned that boy down, her mother tells her, you gotta find somewhere to go. You and that little bastard has to find somewhere to go. First of all, you're cramping my style. Second of all, I don't want to see it. I'm not going to help you raise it. I'm not going to help you do anything. I ain't barely raising you. So you certainly not going to hamper me with your baby. You understand? She's also saying it because we tried to give you a place to go with the father of the child. He was good enough to hunch on. And he was good enough for you to have that baby there. You good enough. Go on with him. Go on with him then. She didn't want to do that. So now, her mother is telling her, you gotta go. You gotta go. No daddy. I'm gonna get to the super chats in a little bit. No, I need y'all to understand this story.
Holding my baby. And one night she came in and this other boy, John Hale, was there playing checkers with my oldest brother. They were about the same age. They were playing checkers together. And she came in. When she came in, she said, God damn, you still here? I told you when I got back, I want you and that bastard child to be gone. He didn't even say a word. They just kept playing. And then the next day he came down and he asked me, was Mama there? I said, yes. He said, well, tell her I want to holler at her, man.
So he ain't asked you nothing.
He never asked me to marry.
I had the baby. Mm-hmm. So here's a guy that's asking to speak to your mom. Now, you don't know why.
I don't know why.
Okay.
But he told her, he said, I heard you last night speaking to Lucy, but what you said to her, did you mean it? And she said, like what? He said, you told her that you wanted her and her bastard child to be out of your house. She said, hell yeah, you can have.
I had the baby. Mm-hmm. So here's a guy that's asking to speak to your mom. Now, why didn't you hate him, though, after he did? First of all, you didn't ask to be married to him. And after he put you through all the stuff, and I mean a lot of stuff, why didn't you hate him?
Because he didn't mean nothing to me.
Okay.
You know, and when God I told God I wanted him out of my life, wanted to move him out of my life, but not by death. Because I knew if he went by death, I was going to do it. And my children was going to be left to the state. So I didn't want to be the one to get rid of him and then lose my children too. Mm-hmm. I didn't want that. And I thank God for what he did. And so I was just glad. John was gone, he's gone. Thank God I don't have to work with him no more.
A part that I want to pull out.
Now, I need you to understand how she wrapped that up. She had one, listen. Now they skip, I need you to notice something before I go into it. They skip, quote unquote, everything that he did to her. Do you understand this? Did you hear it? Did you hear her tell a story about anything that man did to her? The man she couldn't stand? The one that saved her? He saved her. Did you hear her say anything about what he did? I didn't hear that story. Did you hear that story? And I watched that whole video. I didn't hear that story. Did you hear that story? Now, she said children. You had one when he married you. Where the other ones come from? And you couldn't stand him. And you wanted him out of your life, but not by death, because you knew that you were going to be the one to do it. So you disliked that man that much. But you didn't leave him. You wanted him to leave you so that you wouldn't feel guilty and you wouldn't feel at fault for this. Listen. That man ain't did nothing to her. She told you in the beginning of this little interview that she didn't like men's order. She didn't like order. That's what she did not like. Okay? She tried to also characterize it as if this man had come along and like kidnapped her or something from her mama house. She had every opportunity and right to say no to him like she said no to the baby's father. Do you understand me? She had every opportunity. There was not going to be any true backlash for her not marrying this man that is not the father of this child. This boy, who she said was about the same age as her older brother, so he's probably in his late teens or something as well. He hears her mother talking crazy to her. He thinks to himself, I don't like to see that. He don't tell nobody. He comes back later the next day and asked to speak to her mother, because the reason he asked to speak to her mom is because that's the way that's done. You don't just come get her. You have to ask permission. She ain't got no daddy to ask permission from. So we got to ask from her mama, the only parent that is there. He asked her, did you mean what you said? But like, was you just talking crazy, or you mean that when you talk to her like that, when you say that to her? Her mom said, no, I meant it. Go on and take her. At that point, you could have said, no, you don't want to deal with him. Why didn't she say no? Because at that time, there was no other alternative. You wasn't going to get no Section 8 voucher because it wasn't there. You wasn't going to get no welfare. It wasn't there. You was not going to do anything but suffer because your mama was going to eventually put you out and you have anywhere to go. You did not like that boy, but you accepted being with him because you were selfish, and he saved your literal life. He saved her life. He saved her from a life of possibly homelessness and all kind of stuff. He, even to the point of not only just keeping her in a house somewhere, but legitimizing her and a child that was not his. Everybody know that's not his kid. He know that's not his kid. She know that's not his kid. That wasn't even the point. He came and saved her when no other boy, probably no other boy or man in that vicinity wanted nothing to do with her, because she got a scarlet letter. He took the hit to his reputation, came and got her, married her, legitimate, made an honest woman out of her. The baby father didn't do it, even though he offered to do so. She spent her marriage mad at this man because he wasn't that man. Do you understand that? Oh, where have we heard this story? She spent her whole marriage hating that man, not because he was doing nothing to her, because she didn't even say what he was doing to her. You know what he was doing to her? He wasn't the other guy. He wasn't him. He wasn't the man she wanted. But he was the one that stepped up. And I'm not even gonna cast too many aspersions on the father of the child, because she turned him down because she was in her bag. The father of that child came back around. Who's to say her marriage to the father of the child would have been any better just because she was enamored of that boy and she loved that boy? She wanted that boy. He was probably the cute boy. Listen, that's why she brought up looks, in terms of he didn't want her because she didn't look a certain way, quote unquote, and he wanted the other girl. He was the cute boy. He was the desirable boy in a little county or neighborhood or whatever. That's why he was hunching her in secret, because he's the cute guy. He's the guy. You see what I'm saying? He's the upper echelon. He's the better pick out of where they were. This is why she got so mad when he didn't want her publicly. Her feelings was hurt. Because she was in her bag, couldn't see the forest for the trees. She did not take up on that man's offer to say, you know what, I'll take care of you and the baby. Now, see, she would have been cool with him. Now, he'd have been the one that was running around. That he would have been the one running around on her with the other women because he wasn't attracted to her. She just would have been kept. Do you understand? He'd have kept her, but he didn't have no love. Wasn't no love lost for her. She was a mistake. Do you understand that? So she spent all them years. If he was so bad, I need y'all to peep game. She stayed with that other man that actually stepped up to marry her because he was security. That's why she didn't leave. And she had children for him. All the while not liking him, but also taking benefit from him. He provides all of her needs and the needs of her children, even the one that's not his. She ain't never had nowhere else to be. Nobody else. She never had nowhere else to be. Probably because she's a cantankerous woman. She don't seem like she was nice. And they trying to spin a narrative like she put up with, oh, she was just there because of survival. Yeah, selfishly. Selfishly. Because you can sit in 2023 with your old self and talk about what you don't need, no man, but you sure needed him back then, didn't you? You needed him when you needed him, didn't you? You needed him when you needed him, didn't you? Because could nobody have saved you but a man, correct? Nobody could save you but a man. Your mama didn't want you. Where was your daddy? Needed him then, needed him to take you off your mama hands because your mama was going to eventually put you out in that street. She wasn't going to keep on dealing with you. She's going to put you out of there. And you knew that. You knew you had blew it when you didn't want to go with that baby's father. You blew that because that's when your mama started talking crazy to you. Oh, man, I done messed up. I ain't got nowhere to be. And then that man heard the plight. He saw what was going on. He came in and said, I will take her. Now, in order for him to do that, he had to have had some attraction to her. You understand? She probably turned this boy down. Because if that was her brother's friend, that wasn't the first time she seen him. And that wasn't the first time he seen her. He probably already liked her. She didn't call herself, didn't like him. She ain't like him. She liked the other boy. But the other boy didn't like her. So she ended up going with the one that wanted her, but she didn't like him. So she probably made that boy life a whole living hell because she liked him. But she also didn't leave. Not because he was holding her hostage. He wasn't holding her hostage in that relationship. She just needed him. It was a transaction to her. You heard what she said. He didn't mean nothing to me. It was all a transaction to her. You give me a place to stay. You provide for me food. Help provide for these kids and stuff like that. So that's what I'm here for. But I don't like you. And that's why it always left a sour taste in her mouth anytime that he would say anything to her or try to put any order to her. She didn't like it because she didn't like him. Had that other man, how she got with him, he'd have been able to cheat on her openly and talk crazy to her, and she'd have took any order he had. He'd have been able to tell her anything, and she'd have been jumping to it because she liked him. He wouldn't have been able to do no wrong in her eyes. She'd have had her heart broken, come right back. She wouldn't have never went nowhere. She'd have just kept getting her heart broken, come right back. Keep getting her heart broken, come right back. See him cheating with Sally Ann Down, she come right back. She get mad for a minute, come right back. Have another baby, come right back. That's what she wanted to do. And then once that man would have been dead and gone, she'd have had a sob story then too. He cheated on me the whole time we were married. And I just loved him and did everything I was supposed to do as a wife. But he would stop cheating. She'd have had a hyena tail either way. Do you understand what I'm saying? She'd have had a bitter, sour, sad hyena tail either way. Because if she had a gap with that kid, that baby's daddy, he'd have been doing everything under the sun. She'd have been a doting wife that helped him through everything, but he treating her wrong. She'd have been a whole Tyler Perry movie. Do you understand? She'd have been Diary of a Mad Black Woman, Tyler Perry movie. She'd have been doing everything for him, and he, just stepping out on her, and probably pop her a couple times, and this and that, and he'd have kept her pregnant and all that. And all that good stuff. And then once he dead and gone, she'd have had a story about how all he did was cheat on her and whoop on her, and all she did was love him. Now she was with a man that stayed with her long as he could. She couldn't stand him, but she can't say nothing bad about him. She can't say nothing bad, because if she could have said something bad about that man, she'd have said it. We'd have all been sitting here discussing what she said he did wrong. But he wasn't doing nothing wrong. He just wasn't the man she wanted. She just didn't like him and didn't want him, but he wasn't doing anything. If anything, he was probably spent a great chunk of that marriage trying to woo her into liking him, and she wouldn't do it because she just wasn't attractive. Now, see, they'll use a little hyena tail like hers to try to prove how marriages back then wasn't no better than nothing else, and it's not a flex, and these women was under some type of abuse, or what I'm saying, they was in dire straits, and that's why they stuck with their men. They stuck with the men that they didn't want because they was using little hyenas. They was opportunistic hyenas. That's why. Okay? Because she wouldn't have did all of that had there been a such thing as welfare and food stamps and Section 8 vouchers. She wouldn't have done that. and she'd have still had the same amount of kids or more, and they would have had different fathers. Do you understand? She would have it would have played out exactly how it played out now. Do you understand? This is where the generational curses come from. Books like The Color Purple was based on the odd and end story, like she telling, and she only telling it from her end. We don't know what those men's side of the story is, if they even still alive to tell their side of the story. We don't know we don't know the other coin. We don't know the other side of that coin. We don't know what she was doing. We don't know what she was doing. We don't know how those men saw her. She telling a story from her perspective. Of course, she not gonna be the bad guy in her own story. Of course not. She gonna be the victim in the story, if nothing else. If they can't do nothing, if a hyena can't do nothing else, she gonna be the victim in the story. Even sometimes if she the hero of the story, she gonna be the victim of the story. Do you understand? So she gonna be the victim of her own story no matter what. So she's not telling the story of a doting wife who got done wrong in her marriage, and people are glorifying these marriages. She told the story of a ice age thought, a ice age hyena. Okay, she's telling the story of a post-asteroid dinosaur killing event hyena. That's what she's telling the story. She telling the story of a, you better watch out for that tar pit. Don't go over there because the woolly mammoths is over there. Hyena story. She's sitting there telling a ancient cuneiform hyena story. She's telling when are we gonna get done building the Mayan calendar hyena story. She's telling I don't want to be part of the sacrifices for Kulkulkan hyena story. She's telling an Eye of Ra hyena story. She's telling a Isis and Osiris based hyena story. She's telling a Seti. You know what? Thank you so much, Steve, for your contribution, sweetheart. Thank you so much, Blue X's. This is why they're coming out with the Color Purple remake. Got to keep the Mr. image of black men alive. They think all black women her age were abused. Exactly. Thank you. Bugatti said, no way that lady was alive during slavery. Thank you again, Blue Exodus. I hope I'm wrong, but our ethnic group lineage may not make it 50 more years. Gen Z and beyond aren't putting up with this. This is bigger than men going overseas. Men who stay aren't going to deal with it either. Thank you again, Bugatti said, my grandfather died when he was 95 over 26 years ago. He told family on the farm down south that he worked on. Thank you, Jared said, from the Book of Color Purple, Tyler Perry translation, Plantation Chronicles, still blaming black men for how they ran the father off. It's generational. Thank you so much, Luke Casely, for your super sticker, sweetheart. Thank you, Common Man. So I'm 62. And back when I was a child, married women would not be allowed women like her around their husbands or sons. They never were allowed to the barbecue, so to speak. Thank you, Donovan. Said she was willing to be homeless to keep the hyena narrative alive. Thank you, Jamal. So this story sounds like Will and Jada, disgraceful. Thank you so much, Blue. Says sounds like boomer women in my family. First husband, tall, light-skinned brother, her preference. She screwed that marriage. Second husband, dark-skinned, short, disrespects his 4Ps physically and verbally. Thank you again, Common Man 62. Oh, okay. Was this was like a double? Okay. Oh no, this is a different one. And women like her were not allowed around married women. The women wouldn't let her in with married women. She had to stay away from husbands and sons. Thank you so much, Annie, for your super sticker as well. Okay. All right. So I wanted to bring that to you because they won't talk about the marriage of the woman that I talked about before that had been married 82 years. And she ain't coming out with no lost city of Atlantis hyena tales. She ain't coming out with no, the world land masses was in Pangea hyena tale. Building of the great pyramids of Giza hyena tale. Anyway. Anyway, jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you have not, once again, I'm your hostess, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.